Howdy, howdy, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to the first episode of what I'm calling Palia 101, which is my beginner guide to Palia. Everything you need to know for the early game, so to speak. Anything but controls, because, it's on cross platform, so I'm not going to go through the controls of everything. But since the first thing they introduce you to in the game is the maps, I figured I would start off by talking about the map. And when you open the map in Kalima, this is the areas you see, and the first thing you notice that it is squared off. And in the last patch, they actually added a grid system into our maps. That way we're able to more precisely give locations to your friends or other people for stuff you may find or where you're at or where something might be. Like for instance, if I'm telling somebody to come to me, I'm going to say I'm in the G row and the 7 row. So I would say I'm in G7, and so they know I'm somewhere within the square, and it allows people to find yourselves easily. If somebody asks where the pond is in mirror fields, that pond is around D4 by going through the grid. So it is a great way to communicate and share information amongst the map. Now, one thing you can do when you're on the map is by dropping a what they call a waypoint. And when you drop it, it gives you a location to where you can now find your way to that point. It gives you a way to get there without, having to keep reopening your map. And then to get rid of the waypoint, you just click off of it. And you see that there's also a lot of circles on the map. When you first start out, they're all going to be like mysterious people because you haven't met them yet. So I do encourage early game going out, meeting everybody so you can get them all on your map. But you go over their names and it will say their name. And if you click on them themselves, you can actually track them and follow them on your compass as well. So if there's early people like Hidori you really want to find, or Ashura, because those are generally your first two NPCs you're like, oh, I really need to find. You'll just go through till you find one of them on your map, and then you're like, oh, okay, this is where they are. Obviously nobody's around right now because it's in the middle of the night, but you get what I mean. And there's also going to be quests associated with your map, which I actually don't have any quests on this side. But if you notice right here, as I zoom in right here, how there's a little flag right here on my map, because that's saying over in Bahari Bay I've got a quest. Quest objectives will have a map. Now let me whoosh over to Bahari Bay and I'll show you some of my quests. Okay, we are here in Bahari, and just to show you, this is what a quest objective looks like on a map. It's just going to be a little yellow flag, and then sometimes, you'll see this one as I go over. It says search this area. You'll see a big ring around it, means somewhere in this area there's a quest you have to search for. Other times it'll be just a flag beside the person's name, kind of like the symbol on the other map I showed you. Or if you have a quest completed, like you see here, where there's a check mark beside this picture, means I have the quest for this person already completed. I just got to go talk to them to go turn it in. And as we had mentioned before, when you mark something on your map, as you can see on the top of the screen here, and right in the middle in the top, as I turn, you can see it move. There we have the E for east, S for south, W for west, N for north. This is your compass, and anything you mark, anything I talked about you marking, it'll show up here on your compass so you can easily find where you're wanting to go. That works for, places we marked, or also works for people. Let's say I want to find Hidori. I'll just click on him, and then you can see his picture has appeared. So I just turn around till I'm facing him, and then we're off. And it tells you how far away he is and how to get to him. And yeah. And so, other than that, the only other big thing about the mapping is the return home button. Your return to a housing plot, as you see, it's for the X button for the Switch. But you can use that once every 30 minutes from your map, and it teleports you back home. And it's super great, super convenient. You get out farming, your bag's full, you can just teleport back home and sell everything. So it's super nice, and I think that pretty much covers everything there is to talk about the map. And since tools is the next thing that they introduce you to as you get your axe for foraging and your pick for mining pretty early on, I figured the next thing we'd cover is tools. Now, this is your tool ring. It's got a variety of tools. Got your bug catching belt for bug catching, your garden hoe for gardening, your watering can for gardening, your axe for cutting down wood for foraging, your mining pick for mining, your fishing pole for fishing, and your bow for hunting slash archery. And they all start off on the makeshift level, and you can upgrade them, with early on materials that you can grab, with planks and copper bars from mining copper nodes, and cutting the basic sapwood that you have even on your land. And once you start upgrading them, they have what's called durability. As you can see around each one of these, there's a green bar, and like my fishing pole, if you look at it, it's a yellow half done bar because its durability's been running down. Now when the durability runs out, it will break, so to speak, and downgrade. Now once you get down to the makeshift, it can't break again, but that just means you gotta recraft it, and you don't really want to recraft it. So one of the main things you have the ability to do is to repair your weapons or your tools, and you'll get an anvil pretty early on being able to craft it. And when you're able to craft it, you're able, as you can see right here, it says down there in the little grayed out area, repair. It requires 74 repair kits, and as you can see in the bottom, I only have 32 repair kits. So one of the early things you get is the ability to create repair kits. You start off with a repair kit of 20, which when you make it, it gives you 20 of the repair kits, and it only requires copper and sapwood. Pretty much this is the only one I make because you can increase the amount. I can make 100 of them right now if I wanted to, and the mats are cheap. As you get a little bit further up, they require more and more expensive materials, and to be honest, it is so easy to get these early game materials. Coming from somebody who's been playing this game, copper and sapwood is so easy to get and so plentiful. I just keep a stockpile of it just to make repair kits for myself, and just so I don't have to go repair. And now I made 100 of them just to make 100 of them, but only needed 74. So then I repair, and all of a sudden all my bars are back full green again. Now there is an option to do this. If you come over here to this anvil right here, you can actually pay gold to repair it. But I know a lot of people don't really want to spend their gold pretty early on. So what I would suggest actually is not even upgrading all your tools at first. Like the two main ones you'll want to upgrade is your axe and your mining pick, because those are the two that keep you from later games later game supplies, so to speak, the more expensive supplies or foraging items, resources. That's the word. It gives you high dollar resources that you'll want to keep up on, you know. Now, watering can, it's great. It's nice. I love upgrading the watering can because you water more than one space at a time. It's much more efficient. But you don't have to. So if you're trying to save gold early game, I wouldn't even worry about upgrading anything except the axe, the mining pick, and then maybe the fishing rod, because the fishing rod I felt like made a big difference, and I caught a lot of fish to make a lot of my early game money, so I definitely spent quite a bit on my fishing rod pretty early on. But yeah, so I would definitely recommend hold off until you're like, okay, I'm good enough, I can upgrade everything. Then I would go through and upgrade everything. But if anything, I would just focus on getting your axe and your mining pick upgraded first. And that pretty much covers everything there is to know about general tools. So I think I'm going to leave this episode at this, and make sure to like and subscribe if you like this content. I plan on making a whole Palia 101 series going over a lot of all the basic nuances of the game like this. So if you're new to the game or you know somebody new to the game, feel free to give it a share. You can catch me live on Twitch every day except Mondays from about 4 p.m. to about 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Twitch.tv/kfearscene. I'll have my link in the bio. And yeah, make sure to come back again. Thank y'all for your support. And I'll give y'all a heart. Hearts.